Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. How you doing?
Uh, I'm I'm generally doing all right, but truthfully, this has been an incredibly incredibly hectic week. Hectic in a good way, of course, but still pretty hectic.
Yep, I saw your announcement. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. For anyone in the audience who doesn't know, I am officially a production assistant at Titmouse now, and I'm gonna be starting next Tuesday.
Awesome. I'm assuming that's remote.
Yeah, it is remote.
Awesome. I don't know if you know Mackenzie Atwood, but I have a friend. She moved out to LA a couple years ago to work for them.
Wait, yeah. Okay, well, I don't know her. I've talked to Lee a couple times, and they bought her up, so I do know of Mackenzie. So,
Right.
but yeah. Um, where I am, uh, like if I like I don't know how long I'm gonna be, but I would feel like if I were to do something in the office, I could because it's just like a train ride away from me. But for now, this is just remote. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You're in New York, right?
yeah, New York.
So I'm assuming they probably have an office there as well as Los Angeles.
Yeah. So they have the LA office, and the New York office is all the way in Manhattan.
Nice.
Hmm.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about with that? Obviously, no NDA or anything.
Well, I mean that's like the main thing on my mind, honestly. So I don't mind continuing talking about it if like you're cool with it.
I'm down talking about it. What was the process like getting into that?
Um, well, I want to say that I've been trying to grind this for a while. I want to say I think the first thing was last year. They had like an open uh it was an open like recruiting meeting with Ellen Sue, who I think is like one of the people in charge of recruiting. It was just like a traditional Zoom presentation, just like elaborating about the company, exchanging info, stuff like that. And I think a couple months later, I had a couple people that I was able to get to know through interviewing on my podcast, who were able to get me an interview, um, regarding like another show. Like I didn't get on this one, I got onto another one,
Mm-hmm.
but still, the fact that like a a podcast that I literally just started um in my bedroom just was able to transition to generally like knowing people who like are already in the industry, like are doing stuff that I'm already fans of, like wanted to help me directly, you know, meant the world,
Mm-hmm.
like even if like eventually I realized that that position like wasn't going anywhere, and that was fine because they were interviewing for more like a coordinator, and an assistant's more like an entry level position. I'm like,
Right.
uh i I don't really know as much, and that's okay, but I was still proud I made it that far. High
Right.
school me be like freaking elated.
Mm-hmm.
um
For
but
just to
yeah.
interject a little bit, for
Uh-huh.
people watching who don't know, like most of the people who I know who have like managed to get into the animation industry, a production assistant is usually like the foot in the door. Like
Yeah.
Mackenzie, for example, she started off doing that, but now she has like a few years later, she has more of like an editing type position. So it's a good position to have in the beginning, but it's like it's definitely entry level.
Yeah, definitely. At the moment, uh well, I start on Tuesday, and Tuesday is supposed to be like the um I guess like new employee orientation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a monitor, I'm getting a laptop, no headset, but it's that second review really was where things clicked. You know, I no, I can say. Um yeah, it was funny. I remember in that second review, one of the questions was just like naming off uh just like favorite cartoons like off the top of my head,
Mm-hmm.
and I got lucky naming OKKO because it turns out the line producer did help work on that and Mau Mau, so I like to think that helped a bit.
Hmm.
But if I can be real, um, and I don't really, I haven't really like had like a real like spot to just like talk about this, and I don't know if like anyone else can relate, but uh, I guess like my relationship with this stuff is just weird because I guess more like I got into this like circle just wanting to make videos about cartoons. Like I always had since I was a kid, I always wanted to like help make cartoons. But since I was in high school, especially watching Pan Roundtable, et cetera,
Hmm.
um, I wanted to like actually do that stuff. Like I knew my way around editing software, but it wasn't until like 2020 where I just said, like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And I feel like once once July hit, and ironically with my amphibia video, I was able to like put more of my own voice, into the stuff, and
Hmm.
especially my podcast, which I'm still amazed like a schmuck like me was able to just get guest after guest like that. But it's always felt weird because I've kind of I don't know, even since the beginning, I kind of always like felt like an outsider, admittedly.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
just
I
not
still
really.
kind of feel like that sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Not really like someone who's like really well known. And I feel like when I was first starting out, people only knew me based on um like other people who I was affiliated with at the time, which they're all good people, but
Right.
that kind of eats at you. So, um, and I think like even now, it's just like I feel like the reason the enter stuff really frustrated me was because um like I really hope, and I think that Kevin made a thread about this a while back too. But just from like interactions I've seen, I feel like the landscape between like uh cartoon makers and cartoon talkers is better these days. But
Oh yeah.
I I do still see tension, and it really does frustrate me with like just misinformation or just like people thinking that just like people in like this community um are just like completely you know the same
Right.
as like freaking the quartering or enter or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Like they've
you know
definitely there have definitely been a number of people within the industry who have been jaded by those few people. But it's also
yeah,
it's definitely changing, I feel like, because especially since like I mean to be I don't want to like take credit for this, but I do feel like the roundtable did kind of start to push towards this movement towards like trying to review things a bit more positively, or at least like a bit more charitably, because
yeah,
like
I agree.
yeah, because like around the time that we started making a point to make relationships with other creators, and also like not really trying to make a relationship between like us and the industry. It's something that's definitely had more effort over time, but that's something that I think when we met like the cast of Steven Universe and we realized like, oh shit, like we can actually like kind of create a bridge between the industry and like the creators just through like not being entirely hostile towards the people who make shows. And it's something
Right.
that when I did meet Dana Terrace, she specifically like told us um that like we like something that she noticed when she watched our videos was like there was a difference between like us and the people who like just hate on cartoons and the creators for the sake of doing it. And like she mentioned that like she felt like we were a lot more thoughtful, and like when we did say negative things it was coming from like a more like a better place, and like that meant
Yeah,
a lot. But also like there are still people where it's like you still see it on Twitter sometimes. Like people just be like, "Oh yeah, all these fucking cartoon YouTubers just talking about these shows so they can make money," and it's like, it sucks that people are out there still in the industry who feel that way. But it's definitely
Yeah.
starting to change, which is really good.
Yeah. I can even speak from personal experience surrounding that. And I'll be honest, again, no shade, but I feel like when you have that chip on your shoulder, when you feel like, you're going to be looked down on
Right.
for getting your start, like making videos about cartoons, and you're kind of overshadowed where like your peers are just like more well known than you.
Hmm.
It does suck,
Yeah.
but I feel like now, even today, when I made that post, I was, like, in many ways, like, I was incredibly elated, because I felt like it was a peak. It felt like, the grinding that I've been doing, since 2020, it paid off, especially since, I don't know, I've been trying to get like a quote unquote normal job for some sort of income. It never happened, and
Hmm.
maybe this was a sign. But just like checking my notifications, it was like, it, no, it was great, but also weird because like a lot of people who um I was already fans of, or people who I already knew of, they were following me. I've like people were working on like big stuff, like DMing me, following me, even people who I may be working with.
Hmm.
Hell, I ended up making a really big, well, combined it's 45 minutes, um, a really big retrospective review of Magic Girl Friendship Squad, with a lot of people, including Various Joe among like others,
Hmm.
and Jared who did my icon. But while admittedly it tanked in views, which did kind of sting, as you know, I literally spent a year on it.
Yeah.
It literally got me not only to talk directly to two crew members who worked on that show, one of which who is at Titmouse, and was just able to generally give me some really good advice. Was able to like calm my jitters during right before my first interview. Apparently they're literally right in my area, and it's like realistic where I can meet up with them,
Hmm.
which is nuts because normally everyone's in LA, and you know um I don't really know like what my path is gonna be, but I do want to think that um I can still, I don't have to like forget my roots, or you know like pretend I was like never a cartoon reviewer, because like uh I still want to talk about this stuff. I still want to interview people on my podcast. I want to make videos on non stuff, because I take making videos seriously as a way of like expressing myself and views. But I also had like a very similar view on making stuff to what you and the roundtable were doing, where it's like, not being antagonistic, and just like actually trying to like explain and like argue in like better faith,
Right.
you know. Um and I will, and this will be my final point, before I can like let you talk. I'm sorry for over talking.
No, that's fine.
Uh
I like it to some degree when guests just come on and they're just ready to talk because it makes my
you know,
job easier.
yeah, no problem. Thank you. Um and this is it's sort of embarrassing to admit live. But my biggest influence, I think since I was like in 8th grade, um has to be Pan, like without a doubt.
Hmm.
Um just because, um not only just because of like not only like many of our like established like you know common interests and just like general aesthetic and stuff, um but just because like I always got the idea of like no matter like how big he grows up, he's still like, you know, the everyman, and
Hmm.
you still, you literally see like everything he does, he like puts like his all into. And I, from like editing to drawing, whatever, and I found that like highly admirable. There have been there have been literal times where I'm just going back on like old videos and it's like uh hearing him talk about like the stress of like trying to like get a portfolio together or stuff like that or like editing at like 5 in the morning. It's like, oh shit, this is like this is actually me now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he doesn't know I exist. Like it would be fine if I could like finally like talk to someone who I I personally consider as big as an influence on me as like someone like Ian JQ, Rebecca Sugar, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. The last thing I want to do, especially now that I am a creator, is to look like a stalker or anything like that. But I do generally think that he is a really cool guy, and I wouldn't really be in this position without him, and I don't want to like hide that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, Pan is kind of the guy I had in mind when I was like kind of hesitant to be like the roundtable's the reason why like that relationship kind of between the industry and cartoon online critics got better because
Hmm.
Pan is probably the original before us. Like we definitely started to change the way that the landscape of cartoon criticism on YouTube was, but Pan was definitely like, I mean, Pan has kind of like an edgy, like dirtbag sense of humor, so I feel like that kind of got
Yeah,
lost in kind of the rest of like the super negative stuff. But like, he never really has like just unapologetically like ripped into a cartoon. Like he's
yeah,
always been like fair, and he's also like that the whole like pizza party podcast, like their whole team and like improving our relationship with them and getting closer to them is part of the reason why a lot of the industry connections we have now exist, like with the
yeah.
roundtable. Like Katrin is one example where it's like I don't think we would even know her if it wasn't for uh that common like that mutual relationship between her and the pizza party podcast, and then we met her through there.
Yeah, I literally, oh God, I literally like remember, just like listening to that episode when it first came out. That's how I know her, and
Mm-hmm.
now we're mutuals, So
Yeah, Katrin is awesome, by the way.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she worked on my friend Skyward Wings pilot that he made, and like afterwards, like he said, like he is every time I brought her up around him, he has so many positive things to say about her, and like she is like she has done so much like cool stuff, and she's still very grounded as a person, and it's really cool.
Oh yeah, I can definitely, I can definitely respect that. Um, I will say this though, when it comes to like the topic of like establishing relationships, um, you know, well, I feel this, um in general with just reaching out to like bigger content creators. I'm gonna feel this a lot more with industry people. But in both aspects, there are people who like enjoy my presence, and people who like literally have done like huge things like to help me. um but I still get like really anxious, and I don't really tend to like talk to them unless like I absolutely need to, because like I still really do fear that I would like come off as like like a fanboy or whatever, someone who's just trying to like score a bunch of like follows from these people. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to be nice. Like I got someone like following me recently. And all I did was help her set up some emulation stuff because she streams VTuber stuff on the side, and she followed
Mm-hmm.
me back. And I was like, shit, that's cool, but like I would have done that anyway. Like I just like helping people. I'm hoping once I actually like start working, you know, my brain can actually accept that like, hey, I'm in this industry now. So I can get rid of those jitters and like talk to people more casually. And maybe reach out to more bigger people
Mm-hmm.
um for my podcast too, because I do want to branch out. While While there definitely is like a dream list, and I also do want to uplift like friends and like smaller kind of creators as well.
Hmm.
There's also just like a general dream list of people who I want to talk to, who aren't necessarily like animation related. And it's like, it's my podcast. I can do whatever.
Yeah.
Um, at the moment, the only the only person that I could say that fits that mold is David Kimball, who is more in the Smash community. He has helped develop like a renotable mod. He does like content based on melee, etc., etc. Um, and this is admittedly like a really crazy video idea that I don't know if I'm gonna get to develop. Um, but as someone who got into both of those scenes, just like making videos, taking art seriously, and competitive Smash, um, I feel like if you've like seen that Emblem and Hungry Box video, there's something about just like the general idea of like dedication, self improvement, um, and then like just course correcting, like even if it doesn't work out, just like dealing with obstacles that are in your way when you're trying to achieve something that's been your life's goal.
Right.
That I can see in um just both like this aspect of gaming and like art. And I do have like 3 pages of like already an outline that I want to explore one day, because like just like hearing uh even players just like talk about like anxieties about like just like managing like work life, like upholding the content creation angle and doing their main thing, which is already hard on a regular basis,
Yep.
algorithms, all this stuff, it's a struggle. Like the top players have to deal with it, artists have to deal with it.
Hmm.
Hey, you and me have to deal with it, considering
Right.
that both our shows are pretty much one person shows that we're
Hmm.
just like doing to express ourselves. um they're just like so many angles. I'd love to like link you a script after this if you're ever interested.
Hmm.
um but yeah, going forward, I don't know how much time I'm gonna have, and I think that maybe like working will help me like get the passion to just like do videos like more of a hobby instead of like a job obligation, whatever.
Hmm.
But I'm actually really hopeful. And like I said earlier, I don't really want to um hide the fact that I like did cartoon reviews or whatever. I have a lot of aspects to me as a person, and I I guess like just going forward, I hope that people in general who just like accept that. And I feel like that's I feel like that's the goal of like all content creators, basically, just to accept each other like holistically.
Yep.
And that's all I can say. Sorry for rambling again.
Hmm.
Just very passionate about topics like this.
I mean, yeah. Part of it too, like the main thing that's kind of hard to deal with. First of all, thank you, Art Coffee, for the follow. Um, One thing that's really hard to deal with as a creator, especially like at our level, is like you have to accept that merit does not always equal success, and
Mhm.
that's really difficult to deal with because you realize like, okay, I could do what you did and like work for a year on a video that I'm really passionate about, or even like a video series, and put a ton of love into it, have it be like, let's be honest, that video is probably better than like a lot of video essays out there on YouTube that have like a lot more views, but it might just not do that great. And it's
Yeah.
literally, that's just the nature of the beast. And it's something where part of the thing with like probably like the best example of this is like Dan Olson had that NFT video just blow up this past
Yeah.
year. I've been watching Dan Olson since like 2016, and he has never been like a super mainstream like YouTuber like that. Like I think the thing that he was known for most is he's friends with Lindsay Ellis.
Mhm.
And like all of his videos get like maybe they would be lucky to get like over 100K. And I was always like, this dude is like probably the best like at the video essay format of anyone on YouTube. But like there aren't that many people who watch him. And then it's like 4 or 5 years later, he has a video that's just is like the biggest thing on YouTube. So it's something where it's like, and there's like a ton of examples like that where it's like, it does kind of suck when you're like, okay, I feel like I'm mostly just known for, having friends or people who I'm affiliated with who are more popular than me. But sometimes it's like, when you look around at like the journeys of a lot of people who blow up, you have to realize that like that's sometimes just how it goes. Because like there are sometimes people who literally just grind on YouTube for years and they don't blow up until like much later. And I think it is kind of
Yeah.
a thing where it's like, you just, if that's really what you want to do, if you really just want to like stick to YouTube, then like you kind of got to tough that out. But like there is a weird mentality around like putting all your eggs into the one basket that you want. And
Hmm.
I think that like doing what you're doing right now, where it's like getting an actual like industry job, is for a lot of people sometimes the better route, because it's like, if you're not going to be sustained by like, because the cold hard truth is sometimes like with YouTube, it's just not going to provide what you need as an adult to like a job to provide. Like
Yeah.
that's just the thing that kind of sucks, is like you can be good at it, you can be consistent with it, and sometimes it's just not going to work out, and you need to like diversify your portfolio. And like the biggest thing about YouTube is like it is ultimately just a platform for being creative. And
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they want to just be a YouTuber, but you need like something to build that off of. You So like getting an actual job like that, which even though it's like still in the field that you want to do and still in like the industry that you want to be in, sometimes doing that is going to do so much more and give you so much more experience to make your just evolve your YouTube content. Or it might just
Hmm.
lead you in a completely different direction that's better for you. And also like there are like a there is like Mackenzie who used to do YouTube, and also like Rebecca Rose, who I've known for years because she was on YouTube and is now I think she's a PA on Owl House now.
Yeah. Yeah. She actually liked my announcement post, which really surprised me actually.
Yeah. So it's like there are examples now of like people from our side of YouTube like branching off into like actual industry jobs, which is really cool. So it's like there is starting to become a precedent of that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's really awesome to see someone like you who like honestly like your stuff on YouTube and like a lot of your content wasn't getting the attention it deserves. And now it's like you're not really like not selling out, but you're getting it's allowed you a path towards something that's actually going to probably benefit you more.
Yeah. Like using YouTube like to get to the spot was always like the goal, but I didn't want to like, you know, cheapen out. Like I still um put like passion into each of my videos. And
Yeah, of
um
course.
I want to say like going forward with my amphibia video, but um especially like my NFT video, which like as of now, I think that's the most like ambitious thing that I edited. Like I, I literally um ended up like putting like After Effects like under my belt just because I knew that somehow it would like come in handy if I go industry. So I'm like,
Hmm.
might as well experiment with this stuff now.
Yeah.
And it didn't really blow up, but like I'm still proud of that. I'm still proud of all the guests that I was able to get on my podcast. And I a lot of times like people just like came to me. Like for that summer, I was pretty wiped, but you know, I was happy that like people were just like coming in just like back to back to back, and people were genuinely like interested in just like engaging in conversation. you
Hmm.
know and and um I feel like a couple of these people like maybe I could consider friends. I mean, I don't want to oversell anything, of course. um but I think that's also just going to be like an iffy thing going forward, because like I've realized that sub counts, follow counts aren't really an indicative like measure of like my personal level of like where I would want to be, you
Right.
know. So like yeah, it's cool that I have like certain people following me or subscribe to me, but I know that that in of itself, I can still be proud of that. But I know that in of itself doesn't make me a better artist or video creator.
Yeah.
And I
There
also
are amazing artists who have like no followers compared to artists that are kind of mediocre who have a ton of followers.
yeah, definitely. And it's also why like I don't know if like people still have this view with content creators, but it's also why um I just want to like reach out and just like, you know, just like befriend people,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like maybe people have like a cynical perspective, just like genuine niceness online, where they think it's like there's no way like someone can be like that unless they're trying to like use people or just like be a shithead or whatever.
Right.
But genuinely, it's like I don't really care like how much of a follower count like people have. Like I just like would want to be friends with someone just because like uh I think it would be cool, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I admittedly like it does get scary because I don't want to appear like a cloud chaser or anything. And like I'm glad uh I'm in the position I am. Like I'll be honest, like I watch a bunch of clips sorry, tongue tied. Um I'll be honest, I watched a bunch of Crystal Clear in high school, so high school me would be super happy that I'm even in this position right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like really I don't really like see people with like their follower counts or whatever. I just see like, hey, you're a person, I'm person, like that's whatever. Like obviously I don't want to like just freaking like I don't like Pan's DMs or whatever, but I feel like again, just like going forward, um, you know, it really is about like putting yourself out there, which is why uh you and I like admire like RTs, for just like doing that and like putting herself out there for last week's show.
Yeah.
Um because like she like from my conversation with her, she was never uh into that like system herself either. She uh was really focused just like having her opinion, working with people, just like doing what she can to just like express that. Which is a highly admirable trait, and I really think she's like popping off and it's well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just like not to really talk in circles, but I don't want to um forget my roots. I want to like try to uplift as many people uh as I can, because like I know I have like a lot of friends um across like many different circles, because like I'm a multifaceted person. I'm not just cartoon man.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with videos or podcasts, like I I won't like quit until like I can like help uplift like as many people as I can.
For
And
sure.
yeah,
That's
and
like
like working
part
with
of my thing with this whole show too is like
yeah, yeah.
there are honestly people who like there are a few people who I've like wanted to ask on, but I like have intentionally been like actually I want to wait until like I get a bit more of a following here because I'm like there are a few people who I follow where I'm like, dude, it is absolutely insane the content that you make for like so few people. And I'm like, I want to expose like Wasp Ranger is one example. Like con
Oh
I've thought about
no,
like, yo, I should hit him up to be on the show, but I'm like, I want to get to a point where it's like if I have him on the show, it can actually like impact his viewership because like he deserves it. Like the fact that he
no,
makes the
incredible.
videos he does and gets the views he does is absolutely like insane.
Yeah, I'm speaking of someone who had him on my podcast, and that's like one of my favorite episodes. Like he genuinely like a
Yeah.
amazing dude, honestly. Just like oh my god.
Yeah, he has such like a genuine passion for everything he talks about too.
Yeah, like oh man. And I'll also say like his friend Nikki, uh they do like Well, they don't like currently do like YouTube analysis anymore. They're more doing like their podcast, Explode Defeated,
Mm-hmm.
which is also good. Um, but I always like found it like bittersweet because just like going through their backlog of just like tokusatsu analysis, a lot of it was like really good and just not saying like the opinions that um like you normally heard
Mm-hmm.
like within this like niche of a niche, and I really respected that. And it sucks, but
Yeah.
like obviously like they're happy doing what they're doing now, which I'm definitely happy for. Ironically, another year-long video I've been working on was an analysis of on my own of a tokusatsu show, which like that's gonna be a passion project in of itself. And I don't know, just like think about it, I feel like that's also something I've noticed when it comes to like just talking about certain nerdy media, like toku cartoons, anime, whatever, where it's like you can have like people who generally are saying like a lot of like really good opinions, but it's either the algorithm just buries them, or you know they're only known in like their own like little like micro niche or whatever. Like
Right.
in like Toku YouTube, like this person's like pretty big, but in the Grand Central, this person is really small. And it really sucks in general when you have like creators with, like a lot of potential, um that could have like brought appeal. And you know hopefully for me, that's what I want to do on YouTube. Like I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ross Scott, who made a Freeman's Mind, and a lot of machinima and stuff like that.
I
um
don't think I am.
okay, now that's cool. But basically he's gotten to a point where he could just basically talk about like anything. I feel like that's when you've kind of made it as a creator,
Mm-hmm.
when you can like spend like an hour just like talking about like computer desktop interfaces, in such a way that like you you just like completely get your audience. Like you have like a niche audience, but it's a big audience at the same time, who are just like down for like whatever you do, whatever you say.
Right.
um and I think that's like more valuable than just like having like a huge number, but then on like a specific thing you do, like everything else, no matter the quality, they just like drop off. And obviously algorithms, YouTube Studio just like hammer that in even more.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I know there's definitely a balance between like appeasing the algorithm and expressing yourself. But hopefully, people can still like put their souls in YouTube videos, because like, a lot of people say that, you know, um, like old YouTube is dead, and well, data wise, yes, but I still think that generally, like, no matter what you're doing online, as long as you want to express yourself, I think it's all possible. That's something that I want to do, and hopefully uh the way Pan inspired weirdo loner high school me. I feel like no matter what I do, I can like inspire someone who's younger than me like 10 years later to just like do whatever. That's really my goal at the end of the day.
Yeah. For sure. And that's also like a video I've been planning to make for Sugma Mail, is just like the difference between like was a good video versus was a good YouTube video. Because it feels
Right.
like, because like part of the thing is like, especially when you look at a lot of people who give advice and like a lot of people who are like on the top talking about like how to get big on YouTube, it's usually like, well, if a video is good, it'll just naturally, of course it's gonna do well. But it's like their idea of a good video is like it hits like all these certain points that are like tailor made to make a video go viral, where it's like within like this point in the video you do a call to action or like whatever, like stuff like that. And it's like, okay, this is good, and like if you tailor your videos towards this, it will probably help them perform more. But it's like, where's the creativity at that point? Like
Yeah, you don't want to leave it out. Yeah.
it's very calculated at that point. And even if it's something that you're really passionate about, like at what point do you show that passion between like all of the very careful technical steps that you're taking to make sure the video does well.
Right, right.
And also like something that internally with the roundtable that we've talked about is like what you were talking about, where it's like we're like the biggest like animation channel, or like one of the biggest animation channels, but it's like, okay, like with 1 million subscribers, we're not very known across YouTube. Like, how do we get into the greater sea that is YouTube, and expand our reach and bring an even bigger audience to where we can talk about different things,
Yeah.
so it's definitely, it's all a thing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I've realized is that like whether it's for you or your audience, sometimes the stuff that doesn't do well is the stuff that like you might be most proud of. Like
Right.
my amphibia video, my Pete and Pete video, Magical Friendship Squad, those are the videos that I feel most proud of. But, I did like try to experiment with like more topical like commentary ish videos. And I still try to like put my soul into them as much as I could. I think my Pibby video was like the fastest turnaround that I had for video, but the soul was just not in there. And I'm like, no shade to people who do this stuff, but I could never do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, uh from you, um I think it was like your video, forgive me if I'm describing this wrong, whatever. But I think I'm pretty sure it had something to do with like leftist analysis of SpongeBob, if I remember correctly. Like if you
Right.
remember the video. Yeah, that's like the immediate thing um that I associate you with. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so this dude is just like cool in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already know like, cool from Roundtable, whatever, but you know, out of like everyone, I honestly appreciate more when when people have like their own like personal sense of like no own like obviously you guys do general cartoon news, that's great, but a topic like that is just like a Tom topic, like no one
Yeah.
else would just like make that, and again that's like something I respect. It's it's refreshing, so I just like again I'm sorry, I feel like uh I feel like when sometimes when people hear this stuff, people might immediately assume like, oh, they're just trying to be kiss ass. But no, like I genuinely uh think you're cool and like I like your stuff, so just
Yeah.
that's it.
I mean, that's one of the videos where people know me from for sure. But I feel like that's one of the few videos where it's like I'm actually really proud of how it came out, and it also managed to have that effect. Because like the rose quartz, I mean, I was proud of the rose quartz video when I made it, but looking back on it, the fact that I'm like, this is really what a bunch of people know me for. Like, this is not my best work by far. And I feel like a lot
Right.
of my best videos are like the videos that get like 30,000 views and never really leave the bubble of the roundtable.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a hard thing to kind of, that can be demotivating when it's like you genuinely, especially when like all the people who watch a video are like, yo, this was so good, and then like the view count doesn't reflect it. It's like, damn, like it's really
Yeah.
the like the merit is there, but like the YouTube gods have not acknowledged it.
Yeah. Like we're always like taught in life that, if you like put put in like all this effort that eventually will pay off. But sometimes like in YouTube or just in general, like the internet, with like everything being more algorithm driven, sometimes it won't pay off. And for people who like aren't really in the know, they might think you're just bitching, but
Right.
a lot of time it is valid because it generally is out of your control,
Yeah.
you know?
Like there's nothing you can do to like force it. Like it's not a thing that you can work for really.
Right.
Like you can, it's kind of just gambling. It's like the more you spin the wheel, the more you have a chance at making a jackpot, but like you can't make a jackpot happen.
Yeah. And if you end up like tailoring like content or art or whatever um towards getting hits, that's that's when the soul goes away. And like I already said, like I really respect soul in creations, even if they don't pop off, because that's what I personally still feel proud of. Like I can like look back and say, oh, I had like 4 to 5 like WB animation people like on my Ricky Dick podcast. I got like 5K views, 10K views on my amphibian analysis. I'll I'll like hold that way more than me making a Pibby analysis video in a day and that came like 70K. Like that's
Right.
whatever.
That's the crazy thing too, is like I think of like some of the videos where it's just like I made it in a day. Like literally I just like recorded it, gave it to our editor, it went up like the same day, and it managed to get like 100,000 views. And that's like I put a ton of work, like I put a month into like writing a video, and then I shoot it, and then I like put all this time into editing it, and that gets like 20K views, and it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think it's about time to wrap it up. Shout out, what do you want to shout out?
All right. So first off, if you do want to check out my videos, you can check me out on YouTube. That is KASH, CASH. I have a podcast, the Cash Cast. So that's anchor.fm/KASH, CAST. Um, I don't know when it's going to be out, but I do have a second interview with Marika Cohen, who was another crew member on Magical Friendship Squad. So whenever that's out on YouTube and streaming platforms, that'll be out there. Um, I I don't know when or how much I'm gonna be doing videos. So if you were to follow my Twitter, I'd rather do the art account. That's KASHED ART. Um, like when I eventually like do make another video, I'll dust off the main account. But you could just follow me there. Um, and I think that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you so much for coming on. It was a blast. I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna wrap up the show. Follow me on Twitter at TommyPQM, and also check out Sugma Mail. Probably cooling off with doing the edited videos of the stuff from the stream, and probably posting more of that on this channel where I post the full VODs. And also check out the roundtable, check out Toon Drip, check out all that stuff.